everybody. It's time to make shift happen. Get ready to shift your perspective on life, people, and the world we live in. And here to help you do that are your shift chicks, Fran Holinda and Lisa A.
Hey shifters, it's Fran Holinda.
And it's Lisa A.
And it's time to make shift happen. All right.
We're in.
We are in. We're up, we're live, we're running, we are recording, and we are asking the question, were they drunk and disorderly or what?
Yeah, really. I'm going to say they were. We are.
Well, we're not.
We're not yet.
So people have said we go together like drunk and disorderly.
By the way, thank you for this delicious chocolate.
I know, right? Pomegranate dark chocolate.
Can you get any better than dark chocolate with pomegranate in it?
Well,
who is this made by?
I don't know.
Wonder Shop. Wonder Shop pomegranate chocolate.
It's really good.
Shout out to them. It's delicious.
Yeah, it's really good. It has a very nice flavor. Mm-hmm. It's not overpowering at the end.
And you know what? I'm not a big fan of dark chocolate, but this is really good.
Yeah, I think you know what, percentage wise, and that's a big thing is what percentage of the darkness.
I know.
It's nighttime. We have to go to the dark side.
That's exactly right. Because sometimes it could be like that bitter.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like that.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Well, life is bitter, Lisa. I'm sorry to say, but life is bitter.
Sure is.
So here we are, getting ready for our show. And you know we like to be up to the minute.
Exactly.
That's one of the reasons we like to be live is because you know if you record a week ahead of time or even a day ahead of time,
it's no good.
The world is moving at a very rapid at a very rapid pace. So we really want to keep track of things. So from the files of what the fuck were they thinking?
Exactly.
We just both looked up this thing, this hoodie from Burberry. Now that's one of our brands that we enjoy.
I love Burberry.
I know. I love that. I do have to say. So it is a hoodie, and there is not even a question about it. This hoodie has, instead of like the tie, right? Just the tie.
Right.
It's a noose. It's an actual
full-blown noose.
It's an actual noose.
Yeah, around the neck.
So what?
A, why would I want to wear that? And B, why would they want to put that out? First of all, they know what it signifies.
Well, there's a couple of things here.
Well, first of all, it signifies anything. It can signify racism. It can signify suicide. I mean, like, why would you put a noose around my neck?
There really are no words. The only thing I can think of is that these are publicity stunts. Like if they put it out there and then they have to apologize that, you know, this kind of goes back to any attention, including negative attention, is still
right.
good. You know, you're in the public relations field. Is that what you would tell your clients? Like, do stupid shit so you can get attention?
Absolutely not. But I have been in many, many, many conference rooms where things have been planted. You know, like a CD's getting ready to drop, and somebody accidentally happens to just be drinking behind the wheel, and it creates a big stir. Or if a movie's coming out, somebody makes some faux pas about something. It has to do with the movie. Even it just happened recently with
Liam Neeson,
right?
Yeah. So you really think that? And interesting though, we bring that up, but how quickly did that? Such a firestorm.
Yeah, that disappeared.
But I also haven't heard much about the movie. I thought the movie opened, but I haven't heard anything about it.
I think it did.
Yeah. And so, was it a flop?
I don't know. They're talking about boycotting him on the red carpet for the Oscars as well. They're also talking about boycotting the Oscars. Period. Everybody wants the Oscars to be boycotted this year.
Well, let me just say, so first we had the flip-flop with the host. Then, actually before the host, it started with categories, right? Didn't they? Mm-hmm. Weren't they going to have like a blockbuster category? Yep. And then they changed their minds. Then the host thing with Kevin Hart, that was a debacle. Then the other day they were coming out with saying that the kind of like we'll call them the behind-the-scenes awards, to save time on the show, those awards would be given out during the commercials.
The unimportant ones. I mean, if somebody's lighting your face, it's important to you.
Editing, all of those things are way
They're
more
huge.
important than half of.
Exactly.
I mean, you and I both know that. Anytime you ever watch, the magic of Hollywood television is all gone once you know what goes on behind the scenes, and you see how it's all pieced together. Even some audio, sometimes, how imperfect it really is. That's why we like live, because it is what it is. So if there's a barking dog or a doorbell ringing or a telephone,
that's what you get when you're live.
Yeah.
I worked on, as you well know, on many TV shows, and I could not believe, when I first got into it, that there was no sound effect. So if somebody was to open and slam a door, that was added afterward.
Seriously?
Yeah. It was fascinating to me. And then once I realized everything, so they just like film. And then afterward, they add a lot of the sound effects. Most of the commercials you see on TV are not the actual person speaking in the TV commercial.
Ridiculous.
I mean, they use like 50 different people to
get a
make one
30-second commercial.
Exactly.
See, that's why, you know, people think of, like I said, the magic of a lot of things disappears when you know what goes on behind the scenes of it. But I have to wonder why people would do things that really have the potential to ruin them and boycott. So now they went back and they changed their minds, and now the Oscars are going to be, 6.5 hours long. And you know how I feel about this. We've talked about this ad nauseum about boycotting ourselves, just not watching because there's just simply no interest. The only reason I've watched anything recently is morbid curiosity to see how they're actually going to.
We just want to see what's going to happen.
I think I'm going to let you see this time. I really, honestly have.
You're really going to do this?
No, I really have no desire. As a matter of fact, this past weekend.
Why don't we just call Feldman and get a report?
Yeah, right. Really, how is Feldman these days? Have you spoken with her?
I spoke to her about a couple of weeks ago. She's doing well.
Yeah, is she?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I saw somebody on TV today who actually speaks during the Oscars, and I swear to God, I thought it was Feldman. I'm like, I almost fell off my chair for a second.
Hey, lady! It was sort of like Jerry Lewis with glass, right?
Exactly.
It was something like that.
Swallowed glass. Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Hey, Feldman, if you're listening, we're going to call you.
We love
soon.
you. We love you, Feldman. Well, I saw the other day. On Netflix, I think I've mentioned this before, you can watch Black Panther.
Yes.
So if you have a subscription to Netflix, it would be free.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to see Roma, which I did watch, I will discuss that with you. Remind me. I did watch it. That's also on Netflix, so that would be essentially free. I have Optimum. I don't know what part of the country Optimum. Altice.
I have Optimum too, and you can get a lot of movies on demand.
Okay.
Right now.
So on demand right now is The Wife.
Yes, that's on
which
there.
I would like to see, and Black Klansman.
Another good one.
And Bohemian Rhapsody.
Which we saw.
But if you wanted to, and for me, it's $5.99.
Yeah.
For 48 hours, by the way. So
Yeah,
I mean,
you get to keep it for 48
yeah, but I mean,
hours.
even with this Stubbs card, right? It would still be $5 per person.
Right.
So if you want to have a little party, but I was thinking about, I really would like to see.
I think you should have an Oscar party.
I should have an Oscar party.
Yeah.
I don't even know when they are. I really don't know.
Next Sunday night. 24th.
Is it really next Sunday night? Oh. Gee, I'm
Oh,
busy.
gee,
I'm busy.
well. Darn, friend's busy. We can't have it here.
But I don't know. All of this quote unquote contrived controversy. The Grammys sounded like they were fantastic.
They were.
We had a way better evening planned, which is why we didn't watch them. But just the bullshit alone makes me not really want to watch.
I know.
I don't care about the fashion. I don't care about the red carpet. All of these people clamoring and screaming.
One reason why I don't
anymore.
care about the fashion is because it's so manipulated. Like if you were going to the Oscars and you were dressing yourself and you were, picking out your own jewelry and I would appreciate it so much more to see. Oh, I wonder what Fran's going to be wearing, or I wonder what Jennifer Aniston's going to be wearing. But to know that they spend weeks upon weeks, having these designers either make something for them, couture, or give them like 15 dresses to choose from, takes all the fun out of what they're wearing. Because it was so it was so planned and structured.
You would plan something that fancy, and obviously like 99.9% of the jewelry is borrowed.
Right, it's not even their jewelry.
So I mean, you're right. I see what you're saying. There really isn't much of them except maybe some.
Right,
of
you're
their
not really getting a
personalities.
real person. I mean, you're getting let's say Ralph Lauren, calling up Jennifer Aniston and saying, "I'm sending you over 20 dresses.
Pick one.
Enjoy."
Right.
It's so I don't get the feel of what the celebrity really goes out and would wear to the Oscars.
I see what you're saying. Well, it's interesting because I've always wondered to myself. So they wear these dresses. We ask who's it by,
right? Who you wearing?
And then even like the jewelry. Do these places? Do people actually, after this is over, go back to what is it, Harry Winston or whatever? Do they actually go and buy these jewels because they saw them on? So do they have to pay to rent them, or are they free?
No, actually, a lot of, especially the A-listers, get paid to wear this.
Really?
Stuff. Oh yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, we'll be there soon, honey.
But I would just love to be on the red carpet one day. And who are you wearing? Walmart. I would just.
Then you'd be in your fuzzy slippers.
Exactly.
And you'd be in total mismatch.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm Annie says.
Exactly. Could you imagine?
Well, speaking of fashion, since we happen to be on this,
on that topic.
you really, aside from this ugly, ridiculous hoodie, so Burberry, I don't know. Again, I can't
Your
even
perfume
imagine.
smells good, but don't make hoodies.
Well, not only just that, but okay. So let me just say real quick. So this is blatant, either suicidal type situations. Most people who hang
is not a
themselves, by the
joke.
way, I don't think actually create a noose. I don't
No.
know that most people know how to do that.
Right.
So to me, that is beyond racist. That is.
Well, the actual article said suicide hoodie.
I know, but I'm
know,
just,
but it's
but I'm
not a
saying
cert-
that to me is more racist. Certainly far more racist, I have to be honest,
Mm-hmm.
than Katy Perry's shoes, which were just plain ugly.
Exactly.
Okay. And even that sweater, the
Gucci
Gucci sweater,
right.
again, hideous, but certainly nowhere as close.
No.
This is blatant to me. So
Yes.
again,
This speaks volumes.
everyone should just get fired. Their
That's what I
PR
say.
people, their marketing people should just be fired.
Call them now. Call them now.
Jesus, people.
Get them on the
Anyway.
phone.
So two things in fashion. One, did you see the picture of Kim Kardashian's dress?
Yes.
What in the world?
Unbelievable.
It's just what is that?
It barely covers them. It really
What
does.
is the point?
I don't know. She always has to make some kind of controversy or statement. It's a hideous looking. I mean, I don't know. Would you ever wear a dress like that?
No. First of all, I don't. Okay, and I'm not saying I'm ashamed of my body, and I'm not saying that you should love yourself. First of all, it's an accident. It's a malfunction
Waiting to happen.
Waiting
Yeah,
to happen.
exactly.
Well, she doesn't have any concern about that. Apparently, I know she's made statements before about Kanye not being happy with the way that she. So why would you do that? Number one. Well, that's number two, right? And number three. And I'm not trying to say that just because you are of a certain age or whatever, but you're mom. You're going to be a
Yep.
mom. You have 3 children, and you're another one on the way to be a surrogate.
Enough's enough.
Like,
really.
just,
you've
we-
already made all your statements already.
You've bared
Stop.
everything already.
Exactly.
I don't think that's attractive. I am of the mindset that more. Actually, the more like leave more to the imagination when
Always.
you start showing everything. and you're
Besides,
hanging
everybody
out.
has seen everything on her.
Exactly.
So what's the difference? You know what I
Exactly.
mean? It's like-
I don't. Most men who've seen it honestly don't think it's attractive
not at
because
all.
it's not. It's not even a pretty dress. Cleavage is nice in a
Cleavage
beautiful
is nicer
dress,
than
a high
that.
slit,
Right.
Right. But when you just don't even wear anything.
Like I
Just
love
wear a
when
Band-Aid.
Angelina Jolie wore that black dress a couple years ago at
Yeah.
the Oscar and put the
Slit.
leg out.
Yep.
That's nice. That's sexy.
Very
that's
sexy.
Nice.
It
Right.
leaves a little enough to the you know what you're seeing, but it leaves enough to the imagination. I don't think that we want to see that, and I don't really think she's. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's really real and what's not real. Not that it really matters. I mean, she's just. It's just getting to be too much.
It's enough. It's with her, it's enough. With that whole family, it's enough.
Well, yeah. Again,
You
enough
you've
is
shocked
enough.
us enough. We saw everything, every part of you that we could possibly want to look at. No, that we want to look at, but that we're subjected to look at.
True.
Because we all went there. We all went to that curiosity thing. Same thing with Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson. I had to just see.
Oh,
and it
remember
was
that?
big.
Oh my gosh,
it
that
was huge.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
it was
I
really
forgot about all that stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. You've come so far. That's what I guess maybe I'm trying to say too is motherhood, marriage, very successful businesses.
Exactly. Now stop.
What role model? Like, haven't you elevated yourself? Let's say where now you're kind of role model status. Don't you want to like her sisters, like her Jenner sisters? They are so classy.
Yeah,
those two.
they don't do
I mean,
anything.
the one. It's Kendall and
Kendall is the like supermodel one.
Okay, she is tall, thin,
Never gets in any trouble.
almost
never hears
flat
crazy-
chested,
Yep.
has absolutely no enhancements whatsoever. The other sisters stopped doing lips, I
Yeah,
think,
she
right?
stopped doing it.
I mean, they're beautiful girls, and they are naturally
Mm-hmm.
beautiful girls, and they should
Like,
really.
You're right. Like, at what point, do you get in a business like them and then say, okay, we don't have to do this any longer because now
Exactly.
we've reached the top of the pyramid. You know what I'm saying?
Well, not just that, but whether you like it or not, we as a society, for whatever reason, take people, celebs, and put them on these pedestals, and suddenly they become role models. And when she does things like help that the woman with
jail,
get out
right.
of jail and who's and goes and
Right, she
tries to advocate for
diminishes
you,
everything.
right, you've elevated yourself to this person now with some kind of community understanding. Doesn't mean that you still can't be sexy.
No,
but to me
just when
that's
you,
just not
just when you're
sexy.
like, okay, Kim has moved to the next level now. She brings it back
Back again.
it's
Same
like-
thing like with Cardi B. I hate to say that. I feel like she'll she rises above, she puts out content, or she shows herself a more of a sophisticated side, and then she goes and she throws a shoe at somebody, or she throws a punch, or she
feel
opens
bad
her
about
mouth.
with the postpartum depression. You understand her. She wants to spend more time with her kid, and then she comes on the TV today and she's like, "I just buy cars because I can. I don't even have a license. I just want to sit in them." What?
Well, then, unfortunately, what you do then
What?
is you just kind of stereotype that idea that when people who don't have money suddenly come into money, they don't know what to do with it. They're frivolous
clue.
with it, and
No clue.
they just and her Instagram. Remember, she came off Instagram for what was
We
it,
knew she'd
24
be right
hours?
back on.
I mean,
We know.
seriously, people, listen. I'm with her in terms of her haters. I think that when they've been replaying her speech from, I guess, one of the award shows. I think it was in the beginning when she first won something. And, it was the iHeartRadio stuff, because it's their commercial. And she was saying, I'd like to thank my haters as well.
Sure.
And I love that, because the truth of the matter is that the people who support you, the people who don't support you have, actually, I think sometimes the people who
Yeah, the
don't
haters
support you, the haters, have more of an influence on your success
And
than
they
you
don't
think.
even realize it.
Yeah,
It's
because they
like-
motivate. For some people, they motivate the hell
Sure.
out of you.
It could be motivational, and it could be also that they create such a buzz about you that people keep talking about you.
I mean, the more people that tell you can't. I mean, for us, that's just fuel. But I
Fire it up.
I love that. All right, and then the sad news that we wanted to say
In the
was,
fashion world, right.
and you know what? Personally, I just think it's always sad when someone who has made such a statement and an impact and has changed the lives of women passes away.
Huge.
But for me personally, I don't have much experience with Karl Lagerfeld and the brand. Have
like
you?
you said, other than the perfume, really nothing. No.
I don't.
wasn't a big
I
Karl
think for me,
Lagerfeld
that's
person.
more runway
I
stuff.
mean, I always
right? Is it?
respected him. I always thought he was kind of a cool dude.
Yeah.
He was like, he always looked very slick
Odd.
and dapper.
I don't know. They're
But,
very odd.
odd looks.
creative
But
types.
you knew he was. You just had to look at him, and you knew he was something in that genre of the business. you
Yeah,
know?
he was making a statement. He was a statement on to, just the way he looked. Well, unfortunately, I don't know if you follow designers like we used to. I don't know
Not
of any.
so
Are there
much.
any like really big names anymore? I know that there's some people out there. There's a few people like when we talk about dressing the stars that are up and coming. But there's not. There's not like statements anymore.
No, not like the back in the day with the Bob Mackies and the big guys back in the day. There's really nobody like that now today. They tend to, and you'll see on the red carpet, you won't recognize a lot of the names. When they say them, like it's how Stella McCartney was very small, and now when you say Stella McCartney,
Yeah.
it's a lot of them that are up and coming, that people are really starting to trend.
Well, I think that it's important, and this might be one of those situations where reality TV, Project Runway, and
Yeah.
some of the shows that have given designers a showcase that they may not have
Exactly.
had. I think those are good things that happen.
Oh, absolutely.
For people, and I think it's great that the average person. I say average. I mean, they're obviously very, very creative, but maybe they don't have the money or the backing behind them. Can be discovered, and all it takes in the fashion world, all it takes is a Michelle Obama to wear your clothes,
And you're set.
you're golden. They're selling out, and people are copying them left and right, and your name is out there. I think
I'm
it's
still
cool.
looking for the "I don't care" jacket that Melania had on. I can't find it.
Maybe
I don't care. Do you? No, I don't care.
you don't care. Nobody. She's been very quiet lately. I noticed. We haven't really said much about her.
No.
And that's interesting to me too, because we've talked about this. Melania has been, we both feel, maligned, unfairly maligned.
Very.
It's pretty obvious that she does not enjoy the spotlight the way the
No,
president
not at all.
does. But she did come up with initiatives, and I don't know that not hearing about them does anything for those initiatives.
Well,
it doesn't mean they're not happening, but they're never in the news anymore.
No, well, again, the media doesn't. That's why he tweets. Unfortunately, we don't like the way he tweets, but that's why he does, because nobody's going to cover what Melania is doing. It's not important to them.
Yeah, but he's not even tweeting about it. She's not. She could. She has. Doesn't the first lady have like an entire
sure.
department of people
Oh, yeah.
to take care of it and do
Oh, yeah.
things? And she's just not.
I just think that she feels. I look at her, and I think that she just feels so beaten down that she's just like, I'm not even going to try right now.
But I have to say that in
Her
my
focus is her son, Baron.
I know
That's her
who
focus.
thank goodness we don't hear much about, because that was awful. Also, the way it started, very
Oh.
similar to when Carter's took office. I mean, Amy Carter was just in that very awkward stage, and I mean, we can make fun and laugh, but kids are off limits. Kids
Absolutely.
are absolutely off limits, no matter what.
Chelsea wasn't exactly.
Exactly, and she's
Christy
really,
Brinkley.
but she's grown into, her very own person. The Obama girls were pretty much left alone for the most part. I just think that this is not something that the Bush girls are great. I mean, Jenna Bush Hager,
I love her.
she cracks me up. She really does. So let's get to that real quick. Do you think she's going to be do we know yet?
I don't know. I think she's going to take it though. Have you been watching?
I have. Well,
It's
I've
getting
sort of,
sad because they've been playing Kathy Lee all of her, old things that she
55
every day.
years
Yeah.
in the entertainment field. She was talking about it the other day. I really wish she would stop
Carter
curling
was like,
her
"Don't
hair.
leave,
I
don't
love her
leave."
when her hair is just
Yeah,
straight. But she got and she's talked about this many times. I think she's too thin. Her legs look like sticks. I know she feels very healthy and she works out and she feels very strong. But for somebody who's 60, she looks. I mean, in one sense, she looks great. But
But did you see when she was? Did you
her
watch
neck,
it yesterday?
Yeah, her neck.
Oh my God,
is-
it was
yeah.
horrible.
And she had that stuff. Didn't they do that stuff on the air?
Yes, that's why I was so surprised that they even showed that.
But you know what? Good for her in the sense that she's out there. This is a woman who is really blossoming. I mean, the Lord
I'll
is
tell
really
you.
whatever Frank and all the people, angels looking down on her. She really has really found what
Going
she's
strong.
doing. And I think to be able to say, we look at a situation and say, wow, how cool would it be to do this, or how cool would it be to do that? She's been involved with daytime television for a very long time.
And
She's
I
got
completely forgot about Name That Tune.
she was the La La girl, right?
Yeah, she
had to
was
sing
sang.
I didn't even remember that.
And when they showed it, I'm like, oh my God, it didn't even look like it. That was her first really big break.
Yeah,
on
but the
TV.
Regis thing, she was fabulous with Regis.
Oh, yeah.
Regis and Kathy Lee was really, really
That's
great.
when it was a great show.
And like her with Hoda, I think it's gotten better again. I think
Mm-hmm.
what happened, there was like a disconnect. And maybe that disconnect was obvious because remember I kept saying they don't feel the chemistry there. That may have been that period of time for whatever reason. She has given her reason, but for whatever reason she has stated that she was making that decision, that she
Right.
felt that she needed to make that decision. And maybe it was weighing on her, and until it came
be.
out, until she was able to say it,
Now she feels free.
now she feels
Yeah.
like a freedom. And I think it's interesting also that the circumstances at NBC with Matt Lauer, who has been obviously very silent.
Yeah.
I'm wondering when he's going to make
Where
his
in the world
comeback.
is Matt Lauer?
Where in the world is Matt Lauer? Where in the world is Megyn Kelly? Megyn Kelly had put out some stuff that every once in a while, I follow her on Twitter still.
Oh, do you?
And every once in a while she'll tweet something out, and she gets a lot of crap, man. Oof.
Really?
People still. She
They're
made
still going at her?
She made a comment about. I think it was the Jussie Smollett, which we can't wait to get to.
Yes.
And somebody put, "Oh, so now you're a journalist." And then somebody was
really?
like, "Oh, why don't you discuss that on your talk show?"
Oh, that's so mean. People are mean.
And then something else about blackface and everything else about that. But I mean, if you really look at some of the stuff that's been going on, that was, I hate to say it, but that's actually mild compared to some of the crap that's
It's not
happened
even,
recently.
It didn't even mean anything.
Not compare, really
what's going on right
comparatively.
now. Yeah.
So let's so R.I.P. Karl Lagerfeld,
Yes.
and thank you. And yes, I forget that, I don't think it was just called, I know Lagerfeld is one of the colognes,
Right.
and I don't know if that was male or female, but I know I liked it at one point in time. I wonder when something like that happens, how much stays out there. Like the business obviously continues. There's obviously contingency. I mean, Kate Spade, you haven't heard much from her design house. I mean, we know she really wasn't as involved, but once somebody's gone, I think, I don't know. Sometimes it's worth more, and then sometimes it disappears.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, it depends who it is. I mean, like, you get Versace, even though he has a sister here, but that's still going strong. But I never really. Did you ever like Versace clothing?
I like their sunglasses.
Yeah. Well, hello.
No, seriously, I actually have a couple pair. I had a couple pair of Versace. I've always liked their sunglasses. You know what? I have to be honest and say, and it has nothing. I mean, maybe a little income issues too. A lot of their clothing, a lot of these designers, even until there were like outlet stores and stuff, a lot of this stuff was way out of reach. I mean, that was a
Oh,
department in a store I couldn't afford. I never really had any interest.
I love a lot of Dolce and Gabbana stuff. I mean, you're talking about some serious stuff, and then you see the celebrities wearing it, and they get it all for free, even with the Louboutin shoes. I mean, they don't pay for those. They don't pay for anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I have a really hard time. I was never into like there's certain brands that I like, and they could be, seriously, could be Walmart. I'm only kidding. If I like a brand, I like a brand. It
care what it
doesn't
is
matter
either.
the cost or not. Like
Right.
for a long time, I loved INC. And that was, one of the higher ends at Macy's at the time. Now I don't really like their stuff anymore. I don't like where the
changed.
style has gone, and it
changed a
doesn't
lot.
seem to fit me or my image anymore. We both like Louis Vuitton, and I'm always gonna like. I like Kate Spade, but I just don't have the interest in spending money on things like that anymore.
No,
but
I've
if you
lost
wanted
that
to
also.
give it to me for free, I would certainly
Sure.
be happy to.
If we got a phone call to the Shift Chicks, would you like us to send you over wardrobe? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Send it. If
So
you're
even-
listening, send it.
And even when we went to the after party at Paramount, you saw people. Most people weren't really dressed up anymore. I
Jeans
think
on, shirt.
yeah.
Nobody gets dressed anymore.
I just think $1,000 for a pair of shoes or $900 for a pair of shoes is just. First of all, let me just tell you that every pair of heels that I've ever had, regardless of how much money I've spent, and I have had some higher end, I always manage to scrape the back of the heel.
Always.
Okay, so now
I can't buy expensive shoes.
no, but I'm just
I kill
saying.
them.
So here, I've had leather. I had a pair of shoes back when, I would still buy something like an alligator, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? And they were the most gorgeous shoes I thought at the time, and they were like a gray, and I got stuck. I was walking, and my heel got caught in like the sidewalk had a gap,
in the gap. Yeah.
and
the crack
when
like-
I pulled my heel out, I had scraped away some of the alligator. I wanted to cry
yeah, you do when that happens.
because now what do you do?
Nothing.
And I don't know if you've noticed this, if you've ever tried to re-heel a shoe recently. I can't find shoemakers anymore.
No, the only one I know of is in Summit, New Jersey, and he's excellent if you ever want to know him.
I mean, there used to be some like in the mall. There
can't-
used to be
you
some in
can't do that.
town. Even my dry cleaner had, you would bring
Yeah,
your
you-
shoes
you
there
have.
and then they would, that guy left. I'm like, what do I do? I need new,
The
things.
shoemaker in Summit does everything. He puts zippers back on your pocketbook. He does everything. And that real old school.
Yes, I
from
love that
back in the
smell
day.
too, by the way. There's
You
something
walk
about
in
that
there,
smell.
And he looks at the shoe. Hey, I can fix it this. No problem.
Exactly.
You come back tomorrow. I got to do it for you.
I miss that. I miss that. I do. I think that's a vocation that we still need. Especially, what do you do when you have? Well, with Louboutins, I think you send them back, right?
Absolutely.
Because nobody should.
That
Nobody
shit
should touch
comes
it.
off. It's got
Yeah, you got to
fixed.
get that fixed. So
I was in Neiman Marcus not too long ago, and I'm a sneaker maniac.
yes, you are.
And I'm looking at the Valentino sneakers, and I'm like, okay, these are really nice. I really would like these, And I turned them over, and they're like $4,000.
What?
I'm not kidding you, 4,000. And and all the other sneakers were there, and like $4,000
For sneakers.
And then the Chanel ones, a couple grand. I'm like, you know what? If you gave them to me, I'd sell them. All joking aside, seriously.
Well, again, you're paying for a name.
But why do they have to charge that
Unless
much?
the hardware on them is so spectacular, like if there's really gold rings or there's something that makes them really special, they're basically sneakers. And at some point in time,
Listen,
they're going
for
to get dirty.
$4,000, they better go to the bathroom for me.
They
better do something.
They better polish
for me.
themselves.
Yeah,
They better keep
seriously.
themselves clean. No, we're done. I think that phase of my existence is done. And when we hit it big, it still wouldn't. It still
wouldn't do it,
It
no.
still doesn't faze me.
I mean,
I've been
if
there,
it-
done that. I think
you
we
have
to balance.
$4,000, so you spend it on a pair of sneakers, or you go on like
A vacation.
fabulous vacation.
Absolutely. You go on vacation
With
or
your
you,
kids.
or you spend because kids make you run
That's-
faster and jump
absolutely.
higher. Don't you remember that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or you spend it on getting all your dog's teeth taken out. Oh, poor baby.
One or the
He's so
other.
good. He's like out cold.
I know.
I was talking about Asheville for Asheville, not Asheville. Where were they saying? Savannah. And
Savannah.
No. I have to get that just for the heck of it. And I was all excited to go for my birthday week, and a series of unfortunate circumstances have
yes.
kind of led us to think that maybe right now isn't the right time to go. And you know what? I'm okay with that, and I think that's part of adulting. When you have to pick and choose sometimes what's more important.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere, and it'll be fine. We'll get there when we get there. One thing I've learned in my life, and I think you have learned it as well, and this is maturity. If it just doesn't feel right, you really just shouldn't do it. You really shouldn't force certain things. And what is the point of spending money, going away, making all kinds of crazy arrangements for all the various aspects of your life. And then when you get there, and I'm actually pretty good. Once I pull out of the driveway, I really can. But I think it would creep in at certain times
Sure.
that I'm worried about what's going on
And
and
it's
things
all
that
about
need to be
listening
taken
to
care
your
of.
gut too. There's a reason why you keep
Yeah.
telling yourself not to go.
Well, I'll give you a reason. So Saturday night would have, most people I think who didn't get a chance to celebrate Valentine's Day on Thursday, and a lot of
Everybody
people
went out
didn't do
Saturday.
it. Went out this weekend, and so this past Saturday we decided that this coming weekend we have a John Mellencamp concert.
that's right. That's
which
right.
I'm very excited about, and we're going to make dinner reservations in New Brunswick, which is a great place in New Jersey for restaurants, and so it's going to be our big night out. And so we decided this past weekend it was sort of like amateur night. We said about like New Year's Eve.
It is.
We're just going to stay in. And it's a damn good thing we did. Because
Did you
somewhere
have another problem?
because somewhere in the night, for whatever reason, we heard this bang and it sounded like it came through our heat vent. And son of a bitch, if our
Yep.
pressure valve on our boiler blew and water was literally pouring out of our boiler all over my basement
You and
floor.
Mandy need to tone it down.
Bang, baby. Happy Valentine's Day. So, again, maybe we were just supposed to be here because
Exactly.
had we not been here,
It could have been a bigger mess.
I don't know when I would have actually gone down the basement because my cat's down there, his food and stuff down there. Something made me go down, and there I saw the water long before it became a problem.
And it could have been a big problem.
Yeah, it could have
I
been a
think it
very big
exploded.
problem because we have a lot of crap down there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you would run out. So I mean, just in general. So I guess the thing is just if something really makes you uncomfortable or whatever, don't feel pressure. My husband's really good that way. He's like, hey, you don't want to go? We won't go now. We'll go another time.
I'm not going to get into the circumstances of it, but a very good friend of mine's daughter, who's down in Florida, goes to school down there, this past week, was being very pressured by her friends to go somewhere. And she did not want to go. She's not a big go-outer down, with the college crowd. She has a nice little job. She goes to school. She minds her business. And they kept forcing and forcing and forcing. Come out with us, come out with us. So finally she submits.
Uh-oh.
And the guy who's driving the car, she asked him 4 times to stop speeding.
Uh-oh.
And she gets off. They get off a ramp in Boca Raton, smacks right into the wall.
Oh no.
The only person in the car is the person who didn't want to go. Her. Broke her femur bone in 4 places. Broke her wrist. She has to leave school now. She will not finish school this year.
Oh.
And her family's up here, and they can't put her on a plane because could cause blood clots. With the legs.
Have to go get
so
her?
she's got to stay there. They can't even.
Oh.
Yeah. So and the parents, they work. They run a business, but
They must be
again.
devastated.
Another thing about listening to your
Listening
gut.
to your
She
gut.
did not want to go.
And she should not have gone. And
Did not
you
wanna go.
can't. You just I watch. I've talked about this. Well, actually, I haven't really talked about this on the air because I don't like to bring certain things to the show. But I've always watched the show on Sunday morning after I watch Meet the Press because I have to listen to Chuck Todd again because I really like to hear from the horse's mouth different things. And I watch other shows too.
Oh, yeah.
But Joel Osteen comes on after and. I find him extremely motivational lately, or inspirational, I should say, when it comes to certain things. And yeah, religion is tied into it. So, depending on how you feel
A
about
lot of people look at him as either inspirer,
more of a motivator.
motivator.
Yeah. So, if you're not comfortable with the religious aspect
Right.
of things,
He
you
has-
kind of
he
have
has
to
good parables about things.
And his thing, his sermon, if you want to call, I guess call it a sermon this week was entitled "Kiss It Goodbye," and it was about negativity. It was about the past. It was about all of the things that you just need to let a lot of things go. And one of the biggest things to let go is that feeling that we have to please everybody.
Yep.
You really,
Over
because you're never going to do that. And you and I have learned that, doing what we do, we put ourselves out there, we say how we feel about things. There are people who love what we have to say, and there are people who are like shaking their heads going, are they drunk and disorderly?
Yes, we
And by the way, who's drunk and who's disorderly tonight?
I'm definitely disorderly.
All right, then I guess I have to be drunk. No, we are on the club soda diet tonight.
Yeah, right.
But
Cheers.
Cheers. we have a good thing going. We get along. We're a good team, and it's important for people to let go of the things and the people who don't make them feel that way. You've got to
Sure.
give it up to God, or give it up to the universe, or give it up to whomever. Just
Whoever you believe in.
Basically, kiss it goodbye. Just let it go.
Exactly.
It's so freeing, and it's just so.
Because you imagine all the things that people sweat about, and it's like, just don't. Just let it go. Just like you said, give it away.
Give
Kiss
it away.
Goodbye. Say hallelujah, amen. I'm glad you're here. Now you're gone. and just move on.
Yeah,
Because-
it's so important, and I think it's hard. And you and I have very different personalities when it comes to that. I don't like these labels. I guess I've been labeled as that type A, whatever that is. Randy is certainly much more laid back. You definitely let things, flow easier. You don't get as excited about certain things. You just, I'm sure you internalize stuff and you do worry, but nothing like what I've probably done in my life, and I'm working hard to make the next
And you've
part
changed.
of my life.
I've noticed
Thank you.
a significant change. Absolutely.
Thank
You're
you.
learning to just like, hey, take it off your shoulder.
Because it gets to be ridiculous. I mean, we are bombarded daily, and one of the things that I noticed watching television, I always have the TV on. I just like noise in the house, TV, music, something. Sometimes I have both. I have some of the iHeartRadio going on the Alexa, and I have the TV on, and I have TVs on in every
All the
room,
gadgets
and
are
different.
going.
Yeah, everything's going, and I just like noise. And even when I was in school, even when I used to study, I still had to have like noise in the background. Some people like deathly quiet.
No, I
but,
don't like that either.
we are bombarded, and the other day, there it is on NBC, June 2019, Democratic debate started.
Oh, I know. Could you believe this?
I mean, think about this, okay? The election is November of 2020.
Right.
So we are now starting debates, and I understand why, because obviously the field has gotten bigger. Today Bernie Sanders entered the
Huge.
field. So what are we up to, 10? Is it
I
something
think
like
it's
that?
more than that.
Obviously that will drop off. I mean, this is how the Republicans started. What was it, 16 people or something last time when we started?
Yeah. By the time that it got done, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and I'm going to tell you that just like last time, I intend to pay very, very close attention because I don't want to hear what the news shows
Feed
have to
you.
say.
Right.
I want to hear
For yourself.
myself
Right.
what these people have to say, regardless of what my political affiliation
Mm-hmm.
is. I want to know what each person has to say, and I want to really think through this. And all I will say about any of it is whoever it is that you have an affinity for, or whatever political party you subscribe to, please just listen to what people have to say. Please don't vote because they're a man, or not vote because
Or
they're
because
a
you
woman,
heard a soundbite.
or because exactly. Listen to the whole thing, and to illustrate this point, let's bring up what we really have been I have to say, almost dying to talk about, because we are Empire fans.
We love Empire.
And I posted something last time about this. We talked about a little bit about this last week, I think, because what is it now? It's about 2 weeks since this Jussie Smollett case has come into the news. And what are we going to say about this?
I'm not, tooting my own horn, but I said to
Yes,
you from
you
the
are.
very beginning.
Toot toot.
I said,
Do I have that sound
I
effect?
said-
I don't have a toot.
You don't have a
Otherwise,
toot toot?
no. But I'll tell you what. I'll give you this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, and maybe it's because being in the business, I know these things, but why? I don't think any publicist would have told him to do this. This had to be in his own brain to do this. But the second that it happened, I smelled foul immediately.
Can I just, before you go for, but you see that the fact that, I don't know, does that make you cynical? Are we so jaded? Are we so used to having people try to scam us that we would think that? Like, I'm such a trusting person. That's not my first reaction.
It wasn't for me. For me, I happen to be a very in-depth listener, and I hear when people speak, I know when they're lying. And I know when they're like trying to schmooze, whether it be me over or somebody else over. He's an actor, number one. But I think the icing on the cake after I read through him is when he did not want to turn over his cell phone. And Lord knows if I had bleach sprayed on me and a noose tied around my neck, you can have whatever you want to investigate. And that was what really made me say, this is something that's not right here.
So when he did his interview with
That
Robin,
was the biggest joke. She was acting, and so was he.
Okay.
I wanted to throw up at that.
All right,
at
so
that
you
interview.
didn't. Well, the one thing though that he did say that really makes it, if this is true, I still think at this moment in time we still can't unequivocally say that it was a hoax, right? They still haven't come out and said for
Well,
sure.
I
know he's going to be interviewed again. I think they're assembling a grand jury or something, right?
They're trying to get him to come back in, and he won't come back in right now. But the Chicago police have let the two Nigerian brothers leave.
Yeah. One was his personal trainer,
and one was on Empire.
and one was
an extra.
Yep.
And they let them go because they're cooperating. They're spilling their guts. That's a problem with, today's world. It's not the old days. Like my personality with you is like, I'd hide the body with you tonight. You know that. You can call me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm hiding the body with you. You don't have to worry about me talking. But nowadays people talk. They don't want to get in trouble. They're going to talk.
Well,
they will rat you out in a heartbeat.
But the thing about stuff is like things like, okay, if you came into my house right now, you'd find bleach because I have bleach in my house.
Of course.
You wouldn't find. Well, you would find rope because
but not
my
tied
husband.
in a noose,
no,
right?
no, but it wasn't. I don't think it was in a noose. But I mean, we have stuff in our shed. We have a yard. We have. I mean, there's certain things that people
Masking
have in
tape.
their house. Well, we have duct tape. We certainly do have duct tape. There's certain things that you just always have. But I mean, in this day and age of where people save everything, or you have proof through texting or emails, or even, I would think that any of these transactions, I would be concerned about having anything recorded or some kind of evidence that somebody could keep against me. Like I've always told my kids, don't ever put anything in writing. What are you, stupid? Don't put anything in writing. And now you can't even trust anybody that their phone isn't recording a conversation. I mean, you have to feel like, almost have to operate in the world today that everything you do and say, somebody is watching and could listen into you, and especially in a situation. So okay, so
there was a receipt found for rope bought by him, or that he gave to one of the brothers to buy.
I have such a hard time that you would make it that easy to find, though. Think about that too. That's like,
well, I guess
it's like stupid criminal evidence.
Who's
like you drop your wallet at the scene of the bank robbery? I mean,
yeah, well, look at the guy the other day that robbed the house, and then he goes outside and in the unmarked police car, he thought it was his Lyft ride. He gets in it. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, it was fabulous.
That's great.
It was the greatest commercial for Lyft or Uber. One of them should use
That's
it.
fabulous. No, but what I'm saying is that if you're going to come up with this elaborate story, why would you make it so easy to disprove it? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I wasn't thinking, obviously.
Okay, and so we come back to what was the purpose? Is this a social experiment to see how people react when you are a black gay man, to see if the world is offended that you are attacked? Or like what could possibly? I mean, the show is a success as far as I know. Yeah. He's a success.
It's fabulous.
He just tanked his career if this is the truth. If it is a hoax.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not. And then people are saying they're not going to watch Empire. I find that wrong. I don't know what your opinion about that is, but I'm not going to not watch Empire because something this idiot did. If it's
no,
true.
But I mean, think about his co. And again,
they came out. Swerve. Cookie came out.
Cookie,
Taraji.
Taraji.
She'll always be Cookie to me.
And Lucius. I can't think of his name, so we'll just call him Lucius and Taraji. And
Terrence.
Thank you, Terrence Howard. And how many people on television? Once again, okay, we like to believe that people, when he said on television that people who lie do a disservice to everyone who is attacked. We said this about the Me Too movement.
Everything.
We've said this about anybody who falsely accuses another human being of something.
It's awful.
And gains sympathy. All it does is set mistrust. I haven't heard much about GoFundMe stuff, to be honest with you, ever since that Bobbitt case, because people are really turned off by the idea that, people stage and scam, and now you had like 3 people involved and it was hundreds of thousands of dollars. You pegged that one right away. But even that, and that one was, I have to admit, that was pretty like a little unbelievable.
Yeah, the homeless guy
is 20 bucks. And she just needs 20 bucks. But aside from that, it's sad to me. It says volumes. It speaks volumes about
it just ruins it for everybody.
Where we are, though, that our first reaction is no, don't think that's true, because we're so used to being lied to.
And again, you always say, the jump to act, the jump to assuming. Every show went on that day, with the sympathy for him and the crying for him, and Sarah Gilbert, who is a gay white female. This is terrible for my community. And now today she was, on the talk like eating crow, it's sad. So in other words, find out all the facts, because nobody does that anymore. Nobody finds out the facts anymore. And they just jump to the conclusion that this was a true story or it's not a true story. And they condemn the person or love the person, one way or the other. It goes the bad stuff too. You know, they're like, oh my God, he was horrible. Well, in this case, it was poor him, you know, gay black guy getting beat up with bleach sprayed on him.
And then the noose, the whole new. I think the noose was even the thing, and then even the MAGA stuff. And that's another thing about this case that's made it so difficult. Mm-hmm. Every 5 minutes there was a story, and then there was a correction of the story.
Right.
So at one point in time, there was a post that they thought it was a hoax because he was getting cut from the show. And then the next thing you know, the show, Empire, puts out, he's not, he's an integral part. Okay, that was done. Then there was another thing that he said about the, you know, Make America Great Again. And then on his interview, he said, no, I didn't say that.
Well, he said there was somebody said there was they were wearing hats.
But he said no.
Right. And then he said no, he wasn't wearing hats.
So the problem is that even if you are trying, and I walk the walk. Mm-hmm. I really do. I spent time before we would talk about it trying to find the most current information.
Yeah. And up to this very minute,
and it's hard
pretty
to
much
find
that it was a hoax. Up until this very moment, you could pretty much say that as of right now, it's a hoax.
Well, it certainly seems that the facts as he stated them are not true. Now, is it true, yes or no, that he's doesn't look like he's fired from Empire, but there are reports from TMZ, and I don't know if that's really a reliable news source.
You know, I got to tell you, sometimes TMZ's like
as they scoop everybody, right?
Yeah, they have.
I mean, I don't think they're despicable like the National Enquirer.
I'm a lawyer.
You're right. I don't think they're like the National Enquirer,
no,
but I mean, but I don't know that they always tell like the truth. But I don't think they make stuff up. I just don't know if they get their facts right. I don't think they create them.
They would, you know, they're very liberal Hollywood. So I don't think they would make a statement like that unless they really didn't know for sure.
Okay.
Especially Harvey being an attorney.
Okay. So then they're reporting.
I'm going to lean toward
that they're saying the truth.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then what they're saying then is that his episodes or his FaceTime on the show has been slashed. I don't even know how do you recover. Do you remember that whole situation with Brian Williams?
Oh, yes. Every story was fake.
And how he managed. Okay. He's back on MSNBC.
Yeah.
I was one of those people that enjoyed him. I you know, again, that trusted. We're all looking for that Walter Cronkite guy the one guy that you know could deliver the news. Mm-hmm. I think Lester Holt, I mean, taking away the slant of maybe the station, there are just some people who just, you don't mind listening to. You like the way they deliver the news kind of thing. You feel that there's maybe an empathy and a human side to everything. I thought Brian Williams was a great guy kind of thing. I mean, and when you hear something like that, they pull him off the air. Now he's on MSNBC. Every once in a while I'll hear his voice, and it's very recognizable. I don't know how as a human being you recover from that. Like, okay, let's say like Matt Lauer. Obviously he's a womanizer and he did terrible things, okay? But that's like, that's not like a mental condition.
Right.
That's like he's a pig. Okay.
Right, exactly.
He's just a pig, and he used power, to get his way with women.
Right.
Okay. But this is like, yeah, I created stories. I put myself in places I wasn't. Like,
I was in the war zone.
What do you say to that? Do you go to therapy for that? Like, is it a bad childhood? Like, do you have a vivid imagination? Like, what is the reason for that? How do you go back to work after 6 months of suspension or whatever it was? You've lost your anchor
I was very
seat.
shocked he came back. I really was. When I saw him back there, I was like, really? I
mean, I'm amazed at our and this maybe is wonderful that we have the ability. We crucify, but we also know how to forgive. Also, I mean, think back. So Jennifer Lopez, everybody loves A-Rod. A-Rod is the most fabulous human being on the planet. Does everybody remember when he was going at it with the Yankees and there was questions about his performance enhancement use, and he swore left and right, up and down, wasn't happening, and then something happened, and suddenly his story changed a little bit, and he was on suspension. Yep. Now he's like the greatest gift to the world, and everybody thinks he's amazing, and he's a wonderful human being. Again, I'm not saying that he's not a great guy. He just did a stupid thing, or maybe he didn't know. I don't know. I don't know the whole story, and I don't really care anymore. But something like this, where you represent yourself. You are representing black men. You're representing the gay community as well. How do you
The entertainment industry.
how do you come back? What could you possibly say that justifies?
Like, yeah, I would love to be in his head right now. Like, what would you think? Like, what if this all comes to fruition? That it was like, what is he going to possibly say? His motive.
I'm sorry.
for doing this. I mean, it's not going to make any sense whatsoever. And you were speaking about Megyn Kelly before, and Roseanne Barr. I mean, look what they did to those two for not even comparing to what he did.
Well, look at R. Kelly. Look at how long it took for his record label to
please
finally drop him. For God's sakes, like, I mean,
He's just a lunatic.
there's definitely something off here. Like I said to you before, the only explanation that, and even this wouldn't sit with me, but the only thing I can think of is that he somehow was looking for some type of making some kind of statement about how the world reacts depending on the color of your skin and maybe your sexual orientation. That's the only thing I could think of. And again, that doesn't justify it, because now the problem is that when something, God forbid, and it will happen to someone, genuinely happens to someone.
Well, do you remember oh God forgive me, the poor young boy that was beaten to death?
Oh, and dragged out of the bodega? That one?
No, that was
Matthew,
the gay one,
and he was tied to the fence. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, we had a sad anniversary.
That wasn't white, black, or whatever. That was just because he was gay.
Yeah, it was like rednecky kind
Was
of
it
thing.
white? Was his
I think
name?
he was white.
No, but what is his name? Ryan White or Ryan something?
Oh, you're thinking? I think we're thinking about two different people.
The one Elton John, everybody came out for.
Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure.
There's been a few of them,
Right, and
it was never. They weren't race related. They were hate crimes against gay people.
Right. But this is just whatever. So it's unforgivable. If it's a hoax, it's unforgivable, and the Shift Chicks are really sad about that. But no, I wouldn't necessarily.
He may do time for this.
I wouldn't necessarily. I wouldn't punish the show, because the truth of the matter is, those people have absolutely nothing to do with it. And like anything else,
and you're going to support.
If you came out and said something, I would I would instantly support you. And then if it turned out to be a hoax, I would be disappointed in you. But my first and initial reaction would be, you're my family and I would support you. So I don't blame
100%.
them for supporting him, because why would they think he would lie? But it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with this. But that's sad. Very sad.
It really is, and the worst part about it is he may do some time, and he
deserves
have to pay
it.
a lot of money back to the.
He would deserve it. You know what? He would deserve it. I mean, that should be the least of his problems. But I was also interested in, once again, Fran and her non-facts. But I was disappointed to find out. So there was a football player, another one of the football players, who was seen on videotape. He knocked the woman down, and then he kicked her. Remember, he kicked her. Okay, he was let go from his team. He was recently picked up by another team. Was it the Browns that picked?
Well, I know
who picked him
I think
up?
it happened with Baltimore.
And did the Browns pick him up?
Somebody just picked him up. Yeah.
And I heard that I was under the impression he was going to be suspended from the league anyway. But I guess I'm wondering, what the hell would you do that? Why would you be so controversial and pick somebody up like that? Like, I just don't understand.
If you're the Cleveland Browns, you might want to do that.
I'm just saying. And meanwhile, Kaepernick settled
undisclosed amount of money.
So what does that mean?
Very happy.
So he has all this money, but he has no football career. And apparently no Nike career.
But he feels like he won. So that was, what he really wanted to achieve.
I don't even know what to say anymore.
On a lighter note, don't you wish you were at Meghan Markle's baby shower today in Manhattan?
Absolutely not. Could give a shit and a half about it.
Such a big deal.
Well, I mean, obviously, I have to say, good for her that she managed to sneak into the United States.
Yeah, right.
I mean, good for them.
Unbelievable.
I wonder, with or without the Queen's blessing. That's a whole nother thing. There's so much misinformation about her with her dad.
Right.
Whether, supposedly there's a letter circulating that she wrote to him.
Starting again.
Who cares? I don't care. There are just no words to tell you. But I will tell you something I want to say before we close the show out that is really bothering me. And that is that I saw a report on television, and then I started reading some stuff, that the September 11th, the 9/11 Victims Compensation Fund is basically running out of money. And so what's happening is, and it's just unfair isn't doesn't the article that I posted actually says unfair, but unfair is not even the word. So sadly, if you were eligible for the fund, that means that you have some disease or cancer
Right.
or
They're
something
gonna
as
cut you
horrible is happening to
Right.
you because you were in the area, you were breathing the air that was not safe. Obviously, you were affected by the September 11th. And if you filed claims, they were paid, and they were being paid at 100%, which is exactly what they should be paid
Absolutely.
at. Well, the problem is the funding is running out. And so now subsequent claims are being paid. They're going to be, I think it's 50%, then eventually 30%, and so on. And I cannot believe, I am so sorry, but I can't believe that if we can find money and we can declare national emergencies for things that are debatable. Okay, when the towers are going down and planes are going down, that's a national emergency. There should be no question that this fund should be made permanent.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you 100%.
I mean, if the vetting process means that you qualify for the fund, then whatever happens,
pay it.
you pay it. And, sadly, this is the sad part, is these illnesses are showing up, years and years
Oh,
later.
Yeah, absolutely. I can remember, coming, I was in Florida at the time, but I can remember coming back in late September. I was going to a Giant game, and then everybody wanted to go over into the city to eat. And of course, curiosity, morbid curiosity. We went down there.
Ooh.
And two of my friends that I was with, their eyes started irritating them, and then mine did too. They got very, very, very bad eye infections because there was still a lot of
Stuff was
papers
still
going
floating around. Yeah, because they were still.
I mean, I'm talking
digging.
eyes shut, could not open them for 2 days.
tells you something.
I still believe that they dropped something out of that airplane. Those airplanes.
Listen, anything is possible. I just think once again, we have this misplaced sense of urgency or what we think is important. These are citizens of many times innocent victims and first responders who gave their lives, changed their
Jumped in the
there's
line-
just
jumped
no
in.
there's just no there should be no ifs, ands, or buts about this. And as much as we may not be fans, is it Kristen or Kirsten Gillibrand?
Yes.
She's actually petitioning for
is
a
she?
permanent fund.
She-
Absolutely.
she's
Well, it's
a-
in New
she-
York.
She's actually not. I mean, she has some faults, but she actually has some really good things that she stands for. She's kind of up the middle.
Yeah, I just think that
she's
this is
not one of the
something
crazy.
we should. I don't know if there's something we can do, if there's a way to write to people, but I do think that this is important. We have to take care of our own. We have to take care of the things that and the people who've taken care of us. And as I said before, if I don't know what other national emergency. Do you remember that day we were scared shitless because
my
we had
God.
absolutely no idea.
Please, my
what was
sister was calling me.
happening.
The world's coming to an end. Get home. I'm like, get home.
Well, we had no
I'm
idea.
here.
I mean, other than that building that it was a person's name, the not Murrow building with Timothy McVeigh, the building that had blown up. We really haven't had on our soil terrorism. That was homegrown terrorism, but this was really something new and very, very
was
frightening.
freaky.
And so I hope that our government will do the right thing. I just had to say that because it really affected me. It bothered me when I see that.
Yeah.
That when people have to say something to the effect like, "Well, if you were lucky enough to get sick early,
I know, right?
you got paid."
If I was lucky enough
really,
to
if
get
you were lucky
cancer
enough to get
20 years
cancer
ago.
right away,
Yeah.
but if you get cancer later, oh, sorry, you only get 20%. Yeah, no.
No, that doesn't
Not
doesn't
good.
fly. Well, speaking about any kind of national emergency, we have several that we need to take care of. And I know that this is a controversial subject, but hence the one that's going on now. This particular state of emergency could possibly bring in a lot of what we experienced, back in 2000.
Oh, that's a whole nother show. I think we
Yeah.
should save that for a whole nother
We
show.
can.
We might have to do a separate little episode.
Yeah.
We have very
Okay.
different thought processes on this. I will just say this to you. I don't disagree that something needs to be done, but I have a different way to handle it.
Do you?
I think so.
I would like to hear it.
You do? All right. Well, you know what? Then maybe we'll do a little episode.
But in the meantime,
Well, in the meantime, we should all go out there and make shift happen.
Thanks for listening, shifters. Join us next time as we spotlight the latest in exclusive restaurants, shopping, fashion, nightlife, entertainment, and the people who make Shift happen.
That's a good one. Tell my fast.